There should be no one person that is running an initiative, so that if that person leaves, that initiative falls flat on its face. We need to make sure that we are sharing the leadership in this district, and the way to do that is by developing teacher leadership capacity. So next steps: support the administrative council, promote ongoing professional development, not for just teachers, but for administrators as well. As RTTT becomes implemented, there will be some changes at the federal and state level regarding supervision and evaluation of teachers. So we'll continue to stay abreast. Even though we are not part of that initiative, we will stay abreast of the changes that are coming, examine our supervision and evaluation model, and proceed accordingly. We'll continue to implement the curriculum leadership model because it is new and it was only started in November of 2010. It won't have been in place for a year until next year. We are going to be meeting with the NREA, the North Reading Education Association of Teachers, to take a look at how this is going and what areas need improvement, or how long will we sustain the current model. We'll also expand teacher leadership professional development. When we put teachers in these leadership roles, such as the curriculum leadership roles, we need to make sure that we're giving them the tools for them to lead their colleagues. So we're going to expand that teacher leadership professional development to assist them. And I'd also like to say we should promote succession planning. It's very important, as those of us that have been in the profession for a long time move on, to have people to follow behind them. And so we want to make sure we are training our leaders to become administrators, to be able to step in and assume leadership when those of us that are getting a little older decide it's time to move on. So I'd like to propose that we do that. Now we move on to the educational program, curriculum, instruction, and assessment. Lots of major findings in this category. But I do want to start by saying faculty, staff, and administration place a strong emphasis on striving for excellence. You saw that in the mission statement, and I've seen it play out in classrooms across this district and when I have conversations with teachers and administrators. And they do it through a focus on rigorous standards, high student performance, accountability, and a strong collaborative culture. The My Voice survey that's administered at the middle school and at the high school has a piece included in it where students respond about parents' dedication to education and postgraduate education. And the students know their parents place a high priority on education and act accordingly. And North Reading students were described as caring, hardworking, involved, polite, engaged, and well-rounded. They possess a strong desire to be successful, and they are a source of pride from every sector of the community. Everyone that I interviewed, and I asked them what they were most proud of, they talked about being very proud of the students in this town. Student performance on the MCAS continues to be very high. There are some common assessments at the elementary level in the area of English language arts, but that's the only area where I have seen there's been a high degree of developing common assessments. We talked a little bit already about the restructured curriculum leadership model, and I started to take a look at the development of consensus curriculum across the district. We're at the very beginning stages of developing consensus curriculum. The district has submitted the North Reading Bullying Prevention and Intervention Plan to DESC, and the district also provides significant financial support to professional development, and that was very good to discover. The transition from a junior high school to a middle school philosophy has been an ongoing process for many years. And I found that while the structures provide the framework for implementing a middle school model, such as grade level teams, team leaders, team collaboration time, and flexible scheduling, the ongoing work regarding the practices and beliefs associated with the middle school philosophy continue to be a priority for administration and for faculty. The high school program of studies has significantly expanded in recent years. Today I met with John Bernard around goal setting, and we looked at all of the courses that have been added since he's been in the district. 30 courses have been added in terms of AP or electives at the high school, and they are impressive classes, so North Reading is doing quite well. Again, low class sizes are a priority of parents, of faculty, and administration. So next steps. We need to make sure that we promote a common understanding of what it means to be a professional learning community, and I'll talk more about that further on in the presentation. We need to really define the curriculum review process. There was some information around a curriculum review process. This is my former area of expertise, so I'm going to work with Patrick to develop this particular area further so that we have explicit stages of curriculum review and articulated tasks associated with each stage. And in order to measure whether or not students learned what we wanted them to learn, we're going to have conversations about creating common formative assessments that inform instruction. We'll also take a look at those results through the formation of data teams and use that information to plan better and stronger instruction to meet the needs of all students. When students don't learn what we want them to learn, we need to have a very good intervention model and outside of the special education process. That intervention model is called response to intervention, and we're going to work to develop district-wide guidelines around how we operationalize that kind of intervention for students. We're also going to reestablish the Professional Development Council because it's very important to have a well-articulated 3-year professional development plan for our teachers and our paraprofessionals, as well as administrators. We'll do that, we'll collect some information by conducting surveys with our faculty and our staff and our administration to find out what are the needs, the wants, and the desires for moving this district forward regarding professional development. And we'll continue to implement that curriculum leadership model so we maximize the resources that we have in the form of teacher leadership. Under educational program, we also have the area of technology. We have a very lean technology department. The Director of Academic Services has responsibility for oversight of the technology department. We have 1 network administrator and 2 technicians. One technician is primarily responsible for the maintenance of hardware. The other technician has evolved into being our database manager. We have 1 instructional technology integration specialist for all 5 schools. That's lean. The elementary schools employ a part-time paraprofessional to staff the computer labs. There's an instructional technology teacher at the middle school, and of course there are classes at the high school. There was a technology planning committee that's been put together this year, and they will be developing a 5-year technology plan for the district. All North Reading teachers are in the process of answering questions contained in the Massachusetts Technology Self-Assessment Tool. It's also known as the TSAT. The results from the I'll get to that after. I'm already getting into next steps. The current district website has been in place approximately for 1 year. It is template driven, and we've found that it's a bit limiting. We're still learning what all the capabilities are of the district website, but we might be exploring other options. We're in various stages of teacher website development. This year, the high school implemented Edline, and that's a web-based monitoring system for parents. We're piloting that at the middle school, and hopefully we'll fully implement next year. Smart boards continue to be the instructional technology purchase of choice, and professional development is offered to those teachers that are using smart technology in the classroom. So what are our next steps? We need to update the inventory of hardware and software across the district, review and revise the tech plan, and use those TSAT results to develop professional development so that we have deep implementation of the use of instructional technology as a tool in the classroom. We want to explore online education, not only for our staff, but for our students. And we also want to expand Edline. And finally, it would be great if we could reduce the use of paper by using technology. I hear that the selectmen are going to be using iPads at their meetings, so maybe we can move in that direction and not send packets out in paper form. So we'll see, just a thought. Next area under educational program is special education. We have in this district a special education mission statement that reads as follows. We are an inclusive school district, and as such, we are a collaborative culture that welcomes all members into our learning community. Recognizing that students share more similarities than differences, our learning community respects each individual's unique contributions. In our schools, we expect all adults to share the responsibility for providing every student with access to and participation in high-quality general education. Our district does offer a wide variety of resources and programs to service our special needs student. Recently, our Director of Pupil Personnel Services conducted an overview of special education models in this district. We recently sat down. It was very informative for me to see all of the programs, the staffing, the caseload, and the services that are provided. We'll continue to take a look at that and find ways to develop more programs with the intent of bringing other students who are in outside placements back to our district. At the elementary level, co-taught classrooms are housed at the LD Bachelor School, and there are also co-taught classes at the middle school and the high school. And a co-taught class is a term used when the classroom teacher and the special education teacher share the responsibility for teaching that class that includes both typically developing students as well as students with individual education plans. So, our next steps, we want to continue to expand these inclusionary practices that have been put into place over the last 3 years. We want to provide professional development and examine the current service delivery model as well as our staffing, identify new programs, and support the Special Education Parent Advisory Council when they come together to discuss what we're doing well and where do we need to improve. Now we're leaving the educational program, and we're moving to parent and community relations. Okay. Parent involvement. Parents are very supportive of education in this town, and their children know and understand that. And they know that parents place a high value on education. There are 2 parent citizen advocacy groups, education advocacy groups in town, Stand for Children and North Reading United for Education, and they have provided significant leadership to ensure adequate funding for education. Each school benefits from an active parent association, and principals and teachers are very thankful for the many parent volunteers who donate their time and expertise in the schools. And principals report very high attendance rates of parents at the various events, open houses, parent conferences, and competitions that take place in this district. There is also a parent advisory council to the superintendent. It's made up of the presidents and the vice presidents of all of the parent associations across the district. They've been invaluable for me to tap into because they contain an awful lot of knowledge about what's working and where do we need to improve. So next steps, I need to maximize the resources that I have in the form of the parent advisory council to the superintendent. I just came up with a new acronym, PACTS. I love acronyms. We need to investigate the use of volunteers in our school at all levels and see if there are ways that we can increase the level of volunteerism, although it's very high right now. We need to explore ways to examine the district's success regarding parent-family engagement, and I want to work with the administrators and the faculty to find out how are some of the ways that we can go about doing that. And I will probably bring this up to the PAC, the Parent Advisory Council meeting that I have this Friday, to talk about how are we going to examine whether we're doing a good job regarding engagement of parents and families in this district. And then we want to make sure that we have parent presentations on current topics on a regular basis for our parents. And we do that in partnership with the parent associations that are very good at supporting those kinds of activities. Community partnership. Some of the major findings. There is a very strong community character to the town of North Reading, and there's a deep sense of pride on the behalf of the residents regarding the North Reading Public Schools. That came out over and over again in the interviews that I conducted. Very deep sense of pride about this school district. There's been a strong partnership between North Reading Youth Services, the school department, and the police department, and we need to maintain that very strong relationship. Community service has become a priority for the North Reading School District. School district. And actually, community service is a requirement for students in grades 11 and 12, and that's managed through the Social Studies Department at the high school. The school district and Parks and Recreation work together to provide enrichment activities to students in K through 8. And the senior center is located in the center of town, and there are some partnerships with the schools that have been promoted. Other community partnerships that we have are with the Flint Memorial Library, the Rotary, Citizens Scholarship Foundation, North Shore Education Consortium, SEAM Collaborative, and the Northeast Metropolitan Regional Vocational School District. So what are some next steps? We need to continue to develop those relationships, again, to maximize the resources and to be able to provide that level of collaboration so that we all continue to improve with providing services to families and to students.